We go. Okay, so earlier today, Daniel, when he was talking about the cooling tower program here in Austin, he mentioned a couple times about trying to find the business case for customers. And I think that that applies across the board for all of the programs that we do for conservation. Can I keep doing the intro? Okay. So I think that applies for all of our programs across the board. We have to find the business case for our customers. We can't assume that they're going to find out about our programs or be interested in our programs. We oftentimes have to figure out why they should be interested in the programs and tell them that. So today we have three presenters with us: Chris Charles, Karen Guz, and Chelsea Hawkins. I'm going to introduce all three of them, and then we're going to jump into their presentations. So Chris Charles is a conservation program specialist with the Water Conservation Division at Austin Water. He joined Austin Water in 2011 and currently administers its outdoor incentive programs. He's a licensed irrigator with TCEQ and a certified landscape professional through TNLA. Karen Guz leads the San Antonio Water System conservation team that saves over 1 billion gallons of water each year through education, incentives, and reasonable regulation. Outside of SAWS, Karen serves on several state and national committees. She's currently the presiding officer and municipal representative on the TWDB Water Conservation Advisory Council. And third, we're going to have Chelsea Hawkins. Chelsea is the compliance manager for SJWTX, a growing water and wastewater utility in the Hill Country region of Texas. Chelsea leads a team of 4 in ensuring regulatory compliance for matters involving water quality and environmental protection, drought and conservation, and rates and acquisitions. Her team also leads conservation and drought planning initiatives for the organization. So with that, we'll have Chris, go ahead.
Thank you, Martha. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you, and I think I'm going to be controlling slides, maybe, if I can figure out how. Oh, use the mouse. Okay. So Chris, when you want the next slide, just let me know.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes, I wish I could have been there today, but over the weekend I caught a cold, so I'm having to do this from home so I don't get you guys all sick. Where are the applications? We're going to talk about a couple of rebate programs that we have at Austin Water, Water Conservation Division, and see why what's happening with these application submittals. Next slide, please. So I think most people here remember the drought of 2011 through 2016. Austin's water supply, as most of you know, comes from a combined storage of Lake Travis and Lake Buchanan. I believe all of us were one way or another affected by this drought. Next slide. So one of the study rebate programs that we'll be talking about today is the rainwater harvesting program. Did we skip a slide or? No, but can you go back a couple? Oh, one of the slides is missing, but it's all right. I'll go ahead. Go ahead and go to the one of the programs is the rainwater harvesting program. It is basically giving 50 cents per gallon for gravity release tanks and $1 per gallon for pressurized systems. And the reason why we give a little bit more for pressurized systems is because the customer has to go through RPZ requirement, backflow requirements, which includes a RPZ installment, even if they're not connected to the city supply line. The system, if they just have a pump on the site that's pumping out that rainwater, they have to have the backflow requirements. The other program that we'll be talking about is the rainwater harvest, the WaterWise landscape program, and that is a turf conversion program. Next slide. And I'm sorry I don't have that slide there, but somehow it got taken out. But basically, that's just giving 25 cents per gallon. Well, actually, we upped it to 35 cents, per square foot in turf conversion. So you take out your healthy turf and you put in native landscaping. And the way we have it set up, it's $35 for every 100 square feet, which equals 35 cents per square foot. So during this time, we were doing marketing efforts, trying to get the word out about these programs. And our public information office used media blast, which included radio, TV, internet, and also signs and publications in newsletters. And even this picture here, you see bus wraps. We didn't do too much blasting of the internet until 2017, but platforms like Nextdoor gave us more of an opportunity to reach out. Next slide, please. So what we're seeing here is a chart of the data that we collected from these two programs. And if you put the number of applications of both the rainwater harvesting and the WaterWise landscape, which is the turf conversion program, together, then that's what the yellow line represents. The blue line represents the annual rainfall. And what we have here is fiscal year on the bottom. And the reason why we're doing fiscal year instead of calendar year is because some of the data that we collected only was available in fiscal year. And our fiscal year runs from October 1st to September 30th. So, and this red line that you see it running across is the average rainfall that we have in Austin, which is about 34 inches. And I was for certain thinking that, well, because it's not raining certain years, drought years, that, and if the rain increases over time, that that's going to really show up with the applications being turned in, because people probably won't want to go into these programs when it's really raining and vice versa. Next slide. So we didn't really see any correlation from that last graph. So I thought, well, definitely marketing. The more marketing that we put in, well, that's going to show that there's going to be more applications being turned in. And these are just applications being turned in. It's not actual participants. It's just there are some denials within these applications that are being turned in because they didn't qualify. But if you go to the next slide, right here, there's sort of an anomaly where we put in almost the max amount of marketing for water conservation using their budgets. And we did not see an increase in application submittals. Next slide, please. So the next thing I looked at was lake levels, see if that had any role. And sure enough, we had an inverse relationship, and it was pretty much the closest that we got to looking at how these application submittals were being looked at. I mean, sorry, as far as application submittals being having some kind of correlation between external forces. So next slide, please. So other possible factors that we were looking into that would really need a behavioral study to confirm was, were these drought stages during the drought producing some kind of fear that increased participation? Well, we couldn't figure that one out. Have we reached everyone who's interested and have the resources? So for that, that basically means, did we reach everybody that had the amount of money or the time or anything like that? Or was the rebate too small? Still looking at the time it takes to install their landscape or their rainwater harvesting system, and it just wasn't worth the money, or there was too many requirements. Those are other possible factors that we would really need to have some kind of behavioral study to really across the city to try to figure that out. Next slide. So in conclusion, rainfall had little effects on the application submittals. Marketing basically was close, but didn't explain that 2016 decrease in applications. And lake levels, and pictures like this one too. I'm not sure if you remember Carrie Pollard's presentation this morning. Similar pictures like this really drives it home. And I think that if people saw more of these pictures, then they were more apt to going into our programs. But once the water levels are normal, people are not concerned with conservation anymore. Next slide, please. So moving forward, we were thinking about some revisions to the rebates. Maybe increasing rebates amount might bring in more participants, or definitely targeting out some targeted outreach, maybe going after other neighborhoods that had quite a few amount of participants in it, or maybe targeting neighborhoods that we got no participants from, and just trying to get the word out that way. Also, maybe creating new rebates. Maybe these old rebates that we've had for a decade might be just stale, and we need to get rid of them. Definitely, we would like to see some kind of information on lake levels, maybe on our water conservation rebate page, or even with our Water Smart app, the notifications that we send out sporadically. And then also, maybe we should just move away from incentives and focus on ordinances, reducing turf grass amounts from the get-go. So these are things that we'll be looking at moving forward based upon the fact that the application submittals are declining, and we really want those numbers to go back up. Next slide. Thank you so much.